Hello and welcome to the Let's Be Honest podcast. I'm your co-host, intuitive yoga instructor, Lana Simmons.
And I'm Danielle Leibovich, the creator of this fantastic movement, and I'm so happy to be here in our first podcast.
Yay! I'm glad you're here too. Danielle, I'm glad you said yes to my proposal to do a podcast about this awesomeness.
Yeah, this is a huge moment for me. I've always wanted to do something like this, and I just love how our story kind of unfolded. Mm-hmm. And this almost didn't happen, which is one of the exciting things to share that I wanted to really dive into on this podcast, that this idea for Let's Be Honest, that first started as a group, and now it's a podcast, and we'll see where else it's going to go.
Yeah.
It was a fleeting idea. It was a fleeting idea that I got, and it has evolved, and we're now offering 4 groups in February, and it has brought me to Lana Simmons.
Well, let's start off with the beginning here, Danielle. What is Let's Be Honest? Because so many people tuning in are going to wonder, what is it? Is it like a group? Is it a workshop? What is Let's Be Honest?
Okay, so a little bit about my background. I am a psychotherapist. I also have 3 children and a husband, and I am a children's book author. And I found myself at home with the kids, going on social media a lot, and it just really struck me that there is so much control we have over how we want to be seen in the world, what kind of facade we are comfortable showing. And it's just not authentic. It's not really who we are. In fact, the real parts of us are way more interesting and fascinating. And with what I had been doing as a psychotherapist and a children's author, the series is called the Under the Tree series, and each book deals with a universal concept: understanding love, understanding loss, understanding feeling out of place. But this translates with being honest that we really, as human beings, as women, we all want the same things. We want, we have the same needs. Mm-hmm. We have the same fears. Mm-hmm. We have the same hopes. We all want to be seen and validated for who we individually are. Mm-hmm. And what's cool about that is that it doesn't matter what your background is, what your age is, what your religion is, whatever, we can find the common thread and the humor to connect us, and then we change our perspectives. And so where specifically this idea came to me, if we're being honest, let's just go there now. So this is the honest way this idea came to me. I could say that I was sitting at my desk and I looked up at my skylight and boom, this beautiful idea appeared. But that's not at all how I got this idea. So this is how I got this idea. I had this book showcase in Charlottesville, about 2.5 hours north of Norfolk, that was scheduled for me to be a part of. And it was supposed to be my husband and I. He was supposed to drive with me because I'm technically not supposed to drive on the freeways because I have a small visual impairment. And about an hour before we were to leave, my husband had a complete meltdown about taking care of the kids. It's as if it dawned on him that this was he had to take the kids to school by himself so I could finish packing. And he started freaking out that our youngest son was crying. Mm. And for whatever reason, that was the straw to break the camel's back for me that morning. That I'm like, this is your son. Kids cry in the car. Deal with it. You can handle this. And I just got this little voice that said, fuck it, Danielle. You go on your own to Charlottesville. And off I went with my posters and my books and my suitcases onto 64 north or east. These freeways are so confusing. And I was on my way out of there. And that was a huge shift for me because I didn't have to technically really rely on him. And the freeway was fine. I stayed in one lane. It was very easy. And I kind of broke out of my mold a little bit. And it was in that drive. Well, first I was angry the first part of it. I'm like, this is, how did this even happen? He's supposed to be here. Why is he flipping out? I handle a million things. Can't he handle just driving the kids to school without an issue? Yeah. And so after that anger passed, I got this idea of, you know what? Let's be honest here, okay? No one's marriage, no one's children look exactly how you think they look.
Yep.
They get messy. Yes. They get messy and they challenge you. And I know if I'm feeling this way, there's many other women out there who feel this way. And if we can talk about it and we can find the growth in that and kind of discovering ourselves in the process, it's really liberating. Had that not happened, had my husband not had that meltdown that morning, I never would have broke out of my mold. I never would have had this idea be able to present itself, because kind of when you're out of your mold, you've broken up open and you're kind of vulnerable for new inspiration.
Yes.
That really is what it takes sometimes. Just doing something completely different than you normally do, you make room for inspiration. And this idea came to me about how am I going to bring other women together where we can talk honestly about who we are, what we want, and lift each other up and find the funny while doing it. So that is kind of how it came to be.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Danielle, but I would think in your line of work, or I know that from my perspective, when I see a psychotherapist or a therapist of any kind, I guess I put that person on a pedestal. And I expect them to never have any kind of relationship drama. That.
Yes.
And I wonder if you feel that pressure as a therapist.
That's such a great question, because that kind of did hinder me for a while, because as I was getting my master's degree, I was in a class with a lot of different types of people who are also wanting to become therapists. And some of my classmates had been married like 3 times. And I'm thinking, you're going to be a marriage counselor and you've been married 3 times? Yeah. I'm not going to you.
Yeah.
And I was probably very judgmental because I too believe that if you're going to someone to get counsel on something, you want to see that they kind of have their shit together.
Yes.
But I've since kind of revised that to the notion that we really don't understand people's journeys and what they can offer. And one of my favorite quotes that had come in front of me before I started this group, because I also was thinking, marriages and anything in life is not perfect. And there's moments that they are perfect just as they are, but there's moments where there's challenge, and challenge is an opportunity for growth. So of course there's going to be challenge with any relationship you have that is worth meaning, because that is how you grow. But one of the quotes that came across for me was, if you help someone up a mountain, you get there also. And so I don't have to have everything figured out to be helpful to others, because as long as my gift is what I'm honing in on, that I can help people find their patterns of self-sabotage, create a space for them to be authentic, where other women too can contribute with their perspectives. I don't have to have all the answers. The answers kind of find their way in organically. It takes the pressure off me, because I no longer have to be the keeper of all answers. I can be the vessel, if you will.
I think that for someone to, and you know what, I've been to therapy in the past, and I am guilty of this, is that you go to a therapist for the answers, rather than, like you said, it being a vessel or exploring what the answers are for you. But almost viewing the therapist as a guru. And I think that does a disservice to the person seeking the counseling. And if the counselor or the therapist feels that they are the guru, that's not the process, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, in our culture, we are looking for a quick fix. Give me the pill, give me the guru, give me the book,
Yes.
give me the drug. Just give me the answer, I'll do it, and my life will be okay. And you know what it does? It takes our own power away. Because really, all of that stuff, medication, gurus, psychotherapists, anybody, even like, yoga instructors, if you will, our real purpose is to help people kind of help themselves. Because the moment that shifts and you start to aid them in feeding into the fact that they can only get their answers from you or from this product, you are no longer helping them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great healthcare providers out there in every realm, but there's also egotistical ones who are just, not really serving to the highest good.
But I like what you just said. It takes away, when you say that quote one more time, it takes away their power. How did you word that?
The mountain quote?
No, how if it takes away your own power if they start to view you as the guru.
Yes, it takes away your own power if, just like you said, if they start viewing you as the answer.
Yeah.
You want to help any person in a healing or helping profession should really have at the forefront to help these people to help themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in that same vein with the let's be honest, for you to share that you had a blowout with your husband, I think makes you seem more human.
Yeah.
And more relatable, you know?
Yes.
So after you had this, how do I get women together? Where did you go from there? How did you even find the space to do that? And how did you find your people?
Well, okay. So again, I learned very quickly with my children's books, you can have a multi-award-winning children's book, but if no one knows about it, it doesn't matter. And I have this kick-ass idea, but if I don't get it out there, if no one knows about it, what does it matter? So originally I wanted to do it more of like an improv group using the comedy technique of improvisation to bring out these themes. Mm-hmm. That was my first idea, but it started to transform into, there's a wonderful writing center in our community called the Muse Writing Center that just moved to a bigger location in Ghent. And all of the classes are starting there, including mine, in February. Mm-hmm. And they already had an established email list, an established interest list. And I love to write already. So I was thinking I could bring this new class there and incorporate it with some writing tools and techniques, because people who are already going there have an inclination to write. Mm-hmm. But this is something new, and they already had a personal growth section. Mm-hmm. And I approached Michael, the co-founder of the Muse, about this, and he kind of was, at first he was interested, but it was something so new to what they were really offering. The closest thing they had was how to journal, but I wanted to bring like a multi-dimensional approach to it. I didn't want to just write. I wanted that to just be one of the avenues we would use.
Right.
And I insisted on, let's just try it. And usually he likes to have the groups posted months before, but I insisted that let's just see how much we get. I mean, I'm fine with even starting a class with 4. Mm-hmm. And within a month of the class being online, it was filled.
Wow.
To the point where I had to close it because I didn't want more than 8.
Oh, wow.
And to me, that was like what I like to say in our group, like the universe's high five of saying, you're onto something, keep going. And to do that first group, you don't really quite know what to expect. I had never really led a group like this before. I don't know these women. Anybody could walk through my door. I don't know a single thing about them. I don't know their age. I don't know anything about them at all.